Okay, I moved on the other side. The light was so bad that it was making me nervous that maybe I'm making this big long video of 20 minutes for nothing, right? Gotta reposition the camera here. It's on a little tripod. Oh, here comes my friend with his wife. So I gotta go over to Diallo and eat. John, I'll see if I can do this first. Okay, John K. from Washington, D.C. Asked a question. He first watched me talk with Chris, a live-abroad sailor in Rio Dulce, Guatemala. I interviewed a sailor that was actually living on the hook, they call it, in Rio Dulce. Rio Dulce is one of the hurricane ports. There's one in Luperón, Dominican Republic. There's Trinidad and Tobago. I've been to a bunch of these. Trinidad and Tobago, there's one, and we stayed at that for a while. But there was a dream I was having about living on a sailboat. I think I finally squashed that. I don't want to do it. But I interviewed a guy named Chris from South Africa, and it's got a lot of traffic. And he was in Rio Dulce. Rio Dulce is in Guatemala, and it's one of the bigger ones. And there's a lot of people just with their boats docked, have power to them and whatever. He's actually in the middle of the lake, and then he takes a little dinghy into the shore every day. I made 3 separate videos because at that time YouTube would only give me 10 minutes, so I had to make 3, part 1, part 2, part 3. One moment, my friend's over here. Okay, I moved around, went all over the place, and John K., Washington, D.C. went and ate breakfast with one of my friends. John K. of Washington, D.C. He first watched me when I talked about Chris, the live-aboard sailor in Rio Dulce, Guatemala. He wants to know, have you communicated with the guy? I had Chris's phone number, and I tried to call him a couple times, but it seems to be disconnected. But, you know, these are, I don't know how you explain these. We have phone numbers, and unlike America, where you just have a set number, we always have I'll take out my SIM and show you. We have SIM cards. So you buy this SIM card for about $5. It's a little card. And you get them in each country you're in, and Guatemala is the same. And, you know, it's kind of a not so permanent number. Some countries want to actually take your identification and assign a number, and if you lose your SIM, you can get it. But Chris basically went off the, I couldn't get a hold of him. So I think I still have his number, but I tried a couple times over the years. But, you know, he's also out in the water, so it's not the signal that easy. But, okay, you know, you got to understand, though, this on the hook thing. He was living in the middle of the lake. And I want you to realize that he wasn't living there really because he was rich. He was living there because he needed money in a way. And, you know, how do you continue to have money year after year? He had he had sailed the boat from South Africa, and I don't think he had that much money. So there's yin and yang. Half the people in the live aboard thing sounds like freedom, but it's also getting behind the 8 ball where you really didn't make enough money to do it. And you know, they ended up parking a lot of the boats. You know, you don't understand. A lot of these boats end up in Rio Dulce or Luperón or all these holes, and they can't get out because they don't have the money to provide them. And, you know, basically they end up just living on the boat as cheap as it is. 2 or 3 people living on the boat, and none of them were rich. Now, Chris was better than most, okay? But it's tough to live in the middle of the water because you have to take a dinghy, and most people back their boat up to or put their boat up to the shore and then plug it in, have electricity, and it's like a mobile home. Very good guy, very intelligent, very stable, which is one reason why I interviewed him. And a lot of the guys that are on the dry dock and all that stuff have lost the plot, so they're really sitting around drinking all day and stuff. And Chris wasn't that guy. He was a good guy, and I wish I knew how to get a hold of him, but short of going back to Rio Dulce and doing it, don't know how to do it. It's not as freedom as you think. Living on a boat is kind of a hermit's life. You're isolated. it's not, and that's the reason why I've chose not to get on a boat, is because unless I had like, you know, $500 a day to spend, I would be a hermit. I mean, yeah, you can live cheap, but you really spend all your time on a boat, and you don't have any neighbors, and it's really difficult. The social life in a harbor is a lot more complicated than you think. And there's a lot of rules, and it's very dangerous sometimes. I mean, some of these places are very dangerous because they have a lot of people that come out to the boats. When you're on a boat in the middle of the thing, a person can come up to the boat and rob you. So, nope, John, I haven't talked with him, and someday I'll go back to Real Dulce and look him up, but I doubt that he's there. He's probably, you know, eventually they just park the boat and go back home. Desert it. I suspect he's doing. He's getting kind of older, right? Good guy, though.